Greetings, I am Liz.
I have some question. I'm Kendall.
Let's
play a game together.
So we've been noticing, since the beginning of this game, since downloading a game directed at the male designated audience, we have noticed that our ads have changed. Now
Yes.
we plan on doing eventually a compilation of such ads. We may or may not get to it, but we do have some collected for that plan. But with this game, there are so many advertisements for the genius games directed towards boys.
Yeah.
And every one of them is this little, here's 3 different girl romance options and a quirky idea. Here's time travel, here's angels, here's cat girls, here's zombies, here's survive at death school, here's date a mafia boss, here's my billionaire girlfriend, and that kind of thing. And what we're noticing a lot is that so many of the art styles make the girls look like little girls. Really little girls. And a lot of times it'd be like, here's your romance option that clearly has really huge tits, so they're definitely a woman. Because that's what indicates woman. Here's your medium tits one, and then here's your tiny little fluffy lowly in a jumper kind of thing. Or not a jumper, in a one piece, baby unitard kind of thing.
You mean a romper?
There we go, a romper. Clearly romping.
I love the fact that my friend explained to me going oh my god, they call it a romper. And I went, what? What's the problem with that? Because I had no exposure necessarily to the idea.
Okay, so let me explain real quick here. So in my exposure to young children, there is this item of clothing called a onesie. And the onesie is the thing that little kids wear that's like a bathing suit, like a one-piece bathing suit, but it has, snaps at the groin and looks like a t-shirt on top, right?
Yep.
And then I've been exposed also that in the adult community, with the grown-ups who do adult and mature things, if you walk over to adamandeve.com, not endorsed or supported, you will find things, Victoria's Secret even, called teddies. And teddies are for adult people to wear, and they look like a one-piece bathing suit, but, lacy and, or string bikini style thing, and they're for wearing.
Yeah.
And a romper, from what I understand, is basically your onesie with no snaps on the groin for an adult to wear, but it's not lingerie.
Yeah.
So,
and I was really surprised because I went, what?
And it's not a leotard either, because it's not tight-fitting like your leotards. So your family of not swimsuit things are your teddies, your rompers, your leotards, and then your onesies.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's been an interesting culture shift. And my friend was like, what do you mean that's a romper? And I'm like, I don't know the history of it, but that's all I see.
Woo! Which is totally bizarre. But also, so again, I don't think either of us are trying to shame. We just both find it to be, I want to say peculiar in the way, because, so in regards to shifting art styles, consistently across the Genius games for their catalog, for the games that they are advertising to us that we have seen, tend to all have a very specific small cutesy anime girl style.
Yeah.
Even if they are distinctly different anime girl styles. They all generically have this Rena same experience, and actually Louisa's a little bit of an outlier, which is interesting to say. She still looks a little bit, I hate being able to go, she looks to me more mature for anime characters.
She does look more like an adult than a lot of your other ones. The thing is it's just really interesting how a lot of the characters look super, super young that are being advertised to us. And then there's usually one set aside that looks even younger.
Right. Well, and the thing, though, that I was going to point out, too, is that the reason why I find this contrast is so interesting is because there's a distinctive, very strong contrast in the Genius games of the Otome games aimed at girls versus the guys in there. On average, we have laughed our butts off sometimes where we were playing through Freshman Fantasies, or we were playing through even Yaoi Beast Boys, because that is aimed towards women.
The dudes you date are mature ass men looking dudes.
Well, and also at the same time, what I was going to say, the styles are radically different. And the guys all the
art styles are really, really distinctive on some of the games, and there's much less variation with the girls. All right, so Rena's crying because of happiness, mister.
I'm crying because I'm happy, miss. To be honest, it's so hard to put on a straight...
Not a brave face. Not a blank face. A straight face. It's hard not to laugh my ass off all the time when people call me inspiring.
Keeping a straight face socially has very fucking little to do with hiding pain.
I was gonna say, she
usually
should be saying,
it has
like,
to do with like hiding humor or
Mhm.
basically hiding sort of maliciousness. I had to keep a straight face every time I watched you make a fool out of yourself.
so that I
kind of thing.
wouldn't laugh my freaking head off. And the thing
Yeah,
is,
like I'm like socially for me, straight face is so out of place here.
it's amazing.
Why would you ever? Oh my god!
I'm having that problem too. Going, it should be like blank face or brave face.
Brave
would be
face
their
would
standard.
be way more standard.
Like
that
for-
is the trope of saying it's really hard to put on a brave face
Yeah.
every time.
And the brave face is the
No.
one where you are masking pain and looking, brave anyway. But your straight face is
Or a calm
just-
face, or a
Uh-huh.
presentable face, or
trying to keep up appearances. Whatever.
keeping up appearances. There's another
All right.
one.
Anyway, so let's try this line. You can do
To
it.
be honest, so hard to put on a straight face every time.
And not just laugh my ass off at everyone who calls me inspiring.
And then everybody who tells me to bend over and take a suppository.
Whoa.
It's so difficult to pretend that things are okay.
And that everybody's reaction to me
Just-
isn't utterly laughable. Because
Okay.
I'm trying to keep a straight face. Oh.
Okay, so what I'm annoyed by is that previous line also now is completely... Okay, so she's just repeated herself.
Yes.
It's so difficult to pretend that things are okay. You could use this line, and the previous line is completely unnecessary.
Both of them they're redundant. They repeat each other.
Yes.
It's been so difficult to keep a straight face. It's so difficult to pretend things are okay. She's just repeating herself.
Which somebody in distress can do, but I'm talking about in terms of writing. The
feels
previous
weird.
sentence is also so super awkward. It would make so that it's just so difficult to pretend that things are okay, that I'm okay, that people love me, or that I'm fine.
That everyone expects me to be so good and I have to do it and it's hard.
Yeah, like, I have to fight, I have to show the world that I can do it.
Because ever since they put that live webcam in my...
I need to know what you guys think fighting fucking looks like. Okay, so I'm sorry I keep interrupting because I am
It's
so
fine.
lost.
My friend is flabbergasted.
I
This is scandalized. And I just wanted to be like, because ever since they put that live webcam feed in my room so the whole world can root for my process and will donate to my, GoFundMe
page.
to pay for my things if, I'm popular on social media, I just have to be brave, otherwise we can't afford my treatment.
Yes, it's real hard. And I'm not saying that shit like that isn't hard. That is dark as fuck. For like watching people who do that,
Oh, yeah.
that is horrible.
Where they're like, I
But-
will show you my entire process of me dying in hopes that it's interesting enough that you will pay for me not to die. If that's not dystopian, I don't know what is.
I have an illness that no one can cure, but that doesn't stop me from enjoying life to the full.
Rena?
What are
Rena?
you talking?
Hold on, my dear, my child, my slice, my adorable turnip, my useless love interest. Listen closely for a moment. Do you communicate at all with your health providers, or do I need to go punch Miki in the face because she lied straight out to me?
I was about to say this is.
Either Miki is getting the full extent of my wheelchair running over her feet at all possible occasions because she's been an asshole,
I feel
and
like
she's either not communicating to you at all or she lied to me and you're totally dying.
I feel like I'm high. What's
Okay,
going
or
on?
your parents aren't communicating to you, your doctor's not communicating, or Miki is the unreliable narrator. I understand, she's fine. You cannot read charts, can you? Huh? You are the young nurse and all you care about is looking cool as fuck. You really don't know what you're doing, do you? No, I totally know what to do. Bend over. I see. So I'm like, I have an illness. The game's just directly contradicting itself. I don't think it's complex enough that they actually have a narrative where you're supposed to figure out who to doubt, whether it's doubt Rena or doubt Miki.
Oh, yeah.
I just doubt. I don't think that it's actually going to be that deep as to be a conspiracy of going, was Miki lying about Rena's strong body?
I think for your strong.
So
I'm gonna die because I'm like. There's also plenty of. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm being an unfeeling fuck. Like, because part of the things is that we don't. Again, like we've complained about in other games constantly. We don't know these characters well enough for this to make any sense. There's a lot of assumptions
true.
of going, so you're basically playing on the expected social experience of going, you've seen these kinds of stories before. You know that sit girl in this context means all these other things, but I don't have to tell you. Sit girl equals this amount of shorthand.
And the thing is it doesn't.
It really fucking doesn't. Like, and it shows
especially-
inexperience in regards to their writers, in regards to the composition for the story. They have no idea. They're writing on basically a history that they have no context for.
There's also that experience of going, if you don't know what was important about the source material, you can't trim it off. So there's this convention that I've talked about several times, and I may have mentioned it in here, where you can absolutely shorthand things, but you need to know exactly what you're shorthanding it so that you can include all the important and necessary elements very quickly. You're not removing those necessary elements, you're just telling them faster.
It actually kind of reminds me. So there was an interesting video that I saw recently where
Just
it was about
recently, it was so
just
good.
recently. It was about Arthurian legends, right? And the person, he very, very strongly disclaimed it, going like, "Look, guys, I am not an Arthurian scholar, but I thought it was really interesting." Where he went back and he read a book from like the 1400s, where it had been translated and it was like the classic Arthur myth.
Okay.
And he's like, and this was a really basic ass story. He's like, and it was really weird to read it, because the narrative, there wasn't a narrative focus. So if you guys don't know, in regards to modern English, basically, or just modern stories, for the most part,
Storytelling.
modern storytelling.
Literature storytelling,
Yes.
or written storytelling.
There's a big focus on narrative instead of like bullet points.
Right.
Right, where you're just sort of telling facts with no necessary like, let's say, and she walked over there and she felt sad. There's no like story to draw you in. There's a narrative for you to follow.
Right.
It's just sort of, here's a series of events, and this all was a part of this thing, which is one of those things that some people go, a lot of history books aren't very narrative driven. They're very much like fact driven, of going, I'm just trying to tell you the basics for what happened so you get the general idea here.
Right.
So he talked about it, though. It was really interesting for him, where he went and he read that book, and he was like, this is the book that everybody likes citing as the Arthurian legend, like, starter point.
Right.
And then he went and he read a bunch of other books, and then he watched a ton of movies, and he was like, it was really bizarre watching people basically reuse the myth over and over and over again, and what they dropped, what they started moving out into different dimensions, and just assuming based on imagery alone what those things would basically imply to the audience.
Because you assume the audience is familiar with Arthurian legend, and so then you're going, this tiny little bit of visual cue means a whole billion words of pages, and you fill in all your cultural, historical, and social context, and we're good to go.
But it was also then really awkward, he said, too, because it was funny to watch these movies where they would assume that shorthand, but they also didn't know what that shorthand was at all. So they'd suddenly insert weird things in there. You'd be like, that directly contradicts the shorthand that you have just used to stand in here. You can't do that and also have this thing over here.
Showing that they also don't have context for what they're doing, and they aren't deeply familiar with what they're pulling from.
Yes.
All right, so nothing's going to stop her from
enjoying life to the fullest.
I, too, feel the tears slide down my cheek as my hand is still pressed against her cheeks. I
totally forgot. I'm sorry. I took it away.
Until we either get to a new scene, or until he specifically removes his hand from her face, she's still she's just talking through his hand.
Yep,
because that is what they have described.
I have forgotten. I have failed.
Like, we changed episodes. So
we did, and also then I got really distracted.
If you didn't come in from the last episode, Mr., our protagonist's hand is on her face, covering both of her cheeks, wiping tears from both of her eyes, his one hand. So he's just covering her mouth and nose a little bit, like, shh, it's fine.
It's fine.
And now he's also started crying as he's sort of slowly suffocating her, trying to get her to stop crying. All right, I too feel the tears slide down my cheeks. Rena doesn't seem to mind seeing me cry. She seems more focused on trying to breathe. Oh, I mean, I squeeze her cheeks. Oh my God! We have our one hand on her face, across her mouth, against both of her cheeks, like, and we just squeeze together against her face.
Okay, I had to share this story.
And we say,
you know anything?
shh. Oh,
Okay,
Oh,
so I have to share this stupid thing. So it was probably just me, but have you ever had that there's that experience sometimes where you're just like watching people or you're watching a movie and like you watch another character sort of like put a hand on someone else or put like a hand around their neck or something, you just are like internally going squeeze them. You know?
Oh God.
And so when I was younger, I remember trying not to laugh my butt off when I was younger, and The Legend of Zorro came out.
Okay.
So the remake that they did with Antonio Banderas,
Right.
and they had Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sir Anthony Hopkins. I don't think he's sister. Just Anthony Hopkins in there, and. There's a scene in the very beginning where Anthony Hopkins, where he's playing classic Zorro, and he has a daughter, and he just like puts his hand on this poor sleeping baby that's just knocked out, looks adorable and really cute, and it's just his hand just right across her little belly, and I was just like, and then he squeezed.
I
just like to see that image in my heart. I squeeze her cheeks because I couldn't help it.
See, and I have no connection to the squeeze behavior, so I want to support my friend here, and I appreciate that it's funny as shit. I just don't know why.
It's fine. I've told you the story
No,
before.
I know.
For sure.
I know the story.
I still think it's funny. I don't
get
know
it.
why. I just was always like, I just watch you
Squeeze.
people sometimes where you're just like, I just want you to like squeeze.
You touch the puppy, squeeze. It's fine.
Just because it's
So I squeeze her cheeks. You're the best, Rena, I say as I gently suffocate her into the chair.
You're the best.
I mean,
live life to the fullest.
You're the best. You've been so perfect up until this moment that all you can now do is end it here. Go to sleep. Our creepypasta has now been written. This is signed by Liza Scandal. Yay! Now we have the wheelchair killer.
Go back to sleep.
It's fine. It's Mr. the wheelchair killer. If anybody, needs to like draw the Sona or anything, it's fine.
It's fine.
That's who this is. Don't forget to keep your leg propped up in the air in a big cast all the way up to the hip. That's a really important piece of this killer character.
Yep.
And so it's really hard for him to get up to his victims when they're sitting down because that wheelchair has to fit into that space. So generally he's really easy to avoid. But in this case, his arms are long enough.
Oh, Lordy.
You're the best, Rena. Oh my God! Suddenly, Miki and Louisa, who are both eavesdropping, burst in. What's going on?
Rena looks up.
It's fine, she says, muffled quietly in her oxygen-deprived state. Mister, who's really drugged, presses her face farther into the chair. Right.
Greatest friend anyone can ask for. Come on.
Friend, I just silence.
She dies.
Again. The person in the corner playing music just freezes, going, I can't play music through this any longer.
Look, we found Doki Doki Literature.
I can't do it. Okay, so we've understood in playing Doki Doki Literature Club that it's supposed to be scary and dark. We have just outdone whatever it has, I'm sure. We just murdered a small, like chronically ill child in our room under the pretenses of friendship and bonding, and the musician in the corner is just like, don't kill me next. Please, where is the emergency call button for the nurses? Oh my God, I'm gonna die.
I love that.
And her quietly just taking it, going, you're the best friend ever, because I am ready to die now if it's you killing me.
It's fine.
It's okay if that's what inspires you. Whatever inspires you, mister. We stare at each other's eyes. I have shoved her all the way back into this chair. She is mostly suffocated to death. And she just stares into my eyes as the oxygen leaves her body and the vision fades from her sight.
I swear to God, this episode's going to be titled Time to Murder Rena.
It is going to be the murder of Rena. That is what it's going to be.
A tragedy in one part.
Rena died. Rip Rena, bye. All of a sudden, I feel myself move forward. I realize she's not breathing. It's so weird.
The piano player just walks in, hey man, what's up? And the other person yeets out of the room. Oh, my shift is over. Wah!
Here you go. Bye, piano player. You left your xylophone. It's okay. I'll just set my keyboard up on top of the xylophone. That's fine.
Lulu
starts playing, stares at what's going on. What is going on? I feel myself move forward, staring into her nearly vacant eyes.
What's going on?
What's going on? It's like an invisible force pushing me toward her. The back of your overly drugged brain going, you're actually killing this person? But notice something. Notice something! Something is off. I'm literally screaming in the back of your head behind the drug wall. Something's not right. I noticed something pushing me towards her. My head inches its way towards her face and towards the back of my hand that is on her face. Oh my God. Our lips are almost touching, except my hand is in between our lips. She hates this.
Oh my God!
And I love it. We stop suffocating her so that we can notice that our face is so close to her face that if only our entire hand weren't in the way of our mouth and hers, we would almost be kissing.
That'd be great.
Well, you see, in the next episode, we'll find out that Rena doesn't actually die because she is actually a ghost, and that's why she communes with the spirits of the dead, because she is one of them, and what they're really trying to do is help her transition. Like, you know, spoilers for The Sixth Sense. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So...
Honestly, thank you very much, guys, for joining us.
Oh my God, thank you.
If you're having a good time with us, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and please feel free to share our videos.
Yep.
Also, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. I got some links in the description down below.
You betcha.
And other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lice. And it was great playing with you. Bye!